everyone, I'm Lavonne and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to make the big epidural decision, whether or not to have an epidural, use an epidural, place an epidural, do what you want to do with the epidural because of the pain and the discomfort of your contractions. So when you think about labor, you think about pain, and so you have some options for that. But before we can talk through any of your options or risk benefits, so on and so forth, which by the way you can get from my childbirth class online, go to bundlebirth.com and you can see it there. I do have some tips and I have a whole concept that I want you to understand that I think will really help you in making that decision. So let's get started. Okay, it's like nighttime here, so it's just a late night little shindig. When you think about labor and birth, one of the number one things that people think about is the discomfort or the pain of the contractions. And so do you have to endure the contractions without any kind of help? No, you don't. Now, mind you, depending on what country you're in, if you're in the US or Canada, North America, even Europe, you definitely have options. This comes from Penny Simpkins, so I am giving all the credit to her. I've adapted this and kind of grown this into my practice as a labor nurse and birth coach. She is the wise woman of the world of childbirth. She's been around for forever. She has written so many books. She's an amazing resource to pregnant people and people in the birth world, so I'm definitely giving this concept all of her credit, and I thank you, Penny Simpkin, for the concept because I find it so incredibly helpful when having the discussion of whether or not to get an epidural. So quick little snippet into epidurals, which I could talk for like an hour about epidurals, but epidurals are a form of anesthesia that is placed by an anesthesiologist into your back, leaves a little tube / catheter in your back that delivers continuous medication to the epidural space of your back to block the sensation of pain to your brain. So the contractions are happening, but your brain is not registering in the same way that they are happening the way that they are. Therefore, you are and should be pain-free. Epidurals don't remove pressure sensation a lot of times. Sometimes they do kind of flex and flow on that one. In general, they will remove the pain of the contractions. Okay, so now that we've established that, how do you decide whether or not to get one? First of all, the question I want to ask you is, how do you feel about it? What do you want for your birth experience? Because a birth experience without an epidural and a birth experience with an epidural is a little bit different. All of the hoo-hawing and the humming and the growling that I do, those are very much contractions without an epidural. If you dream of feeling the sensation of labor, a lot of women I hear say things like, I really want to experience labor. I really want to know that my body can do it, which by the way, your body can do it whether you have an epidural or not, so we'll just keep that one in mind. You get to make the decision whether or not you want that experience of having those contractions and experiencing the pain to its fullest, or you don't. So I think a lot of times epidurals have been this like demonized thing, and yes, do they have side effects? Of course. Anytime you introduce anything new to the body, there are side effects involved. Yet, epidurals, particularly in North America, have become really, really safe. Now, mind you, every facility is different, so I'm not gonna speak to all facilities and all anesthesiologists and all of that, but in general, epidurals are super duper safe, they're very standardized, and the majority of women do get an epidural in the US. That being said, why do they do it? Because it removes the pain, and labor is hard. If you are choosing to make the decision to go without an epidural, it's hard. It will probably be one of the hardest things you ever do in your life, yet it's also very rewarding. It's not like other pain in your body, you actually get a child out of it. So that's the benefit. But it takes a lot of willpower in order to endure without any kind of pain medication options. This is where you're always weighing what's more important to you. Is it the pain sensation and experiencing labor, or would it be sleep or being without pain? I like to think of an epidural as a tool to help you have a healthy birth memory. So one of the things that I preach with all of my clients and why I am doing what I'm doing and I've dedicated my life to this space is because I genuinely believe that your birth has the potential for being the happiest day of your life. and it should be the happiest day of your life. Unfortunately, there are a lot of women that look back on their birth experience and they think about it as traumatic, as horrible, the worst pain, they would never do it again, and then they want to tell you all of their horror stories. Really, it doesn't have to be that way, and an epidural is a way for you to be able to look back on your birth as being the happiest day of your life. First of all, I would love to undemonize, if that's a word, the whole epidural thing. Have they become safe? Is there risk? Yes, but is there anything worth your mental health? I say that a lot, actually. That came from a birth that I was a part of with one of my best friends, and I had this moment where it was like, there's nothing worth her mental health, and I genuinely believe that. And so keep that in mind as you're considering your options. So back to the whole Penny Simpkins thing. So one of the phrases that she has come up with, you can look her up, I'll actually link it down below if you want, is this concept of pain versus suffering. So pain in labor is not like any other pain you have in your life. First of all, we have this acronym, right? So it's purposeful, anticipated, intermittent, and normal pain, okay? So purposeful meaning like you get a baby out of it. It's not like you're going through something else in your life, like a headache, a migraine, or you're in a appendicitis and you get your appendix removed or something. Like, it's not that anticlimactic. It's actually very climactic. You get a child out of it, and so you're working towards a goal, which can be very motivating and is different than any other type of pain you experience in your life. You know that when a contraction comes and goes away, you get a break. You can pull yourself together, and then it's also anticipated, meaning you can another one's coming until the baby comes out, which is fine and helps with your mental state. It's also normal. And so that's where, when you start thinking about the pain of contractions, I want you to start to frame in your mind that this is normal. It's expected. When you have a contraction or a discomfort or a cramp or something, instead of going, oh my God, I hate it, instead saying, yes, bring it on. I love this. Yes, this is what's gonna help me meet my baby. First of all, changing your mindset to embrace the pain or the discomfort, the surge, whatever you wanna call it, to be able to be something that you can choose to enjoy. If you can. Maybe not even enjoy, but choose to endure in a way that it is just strictly pain. And now there's a difference between pain and suffering, and how I'm gonna phrase it is coping and suffering. What I will say as a disclaimer to you partners out there is that pain/coping looks different for every woman. There are women who sit in silence and maybe suffering inside. And there are women who are making a lot of noise and maybe being somewhat unexpected in terms of making a lot of noise or really getting deep and primal into it. And she may be coping really, really well, and that's just how she copes. The only person that is able to know whether you're coping or suffering is you, pregnant woman, you pregnant women out there. And so that's something to keep in mind as you're going through the contractions, as you're in early labor, moving into active labor, so on and so forth. Is this okay? Is it just pain, or is it suffering? Now, what is suffering? Suffering is a deeper pain. Like, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's my soul hurts. I had a mom who was with her family, and her sisters and mom just was not cool with an epidural. And you could tell she wanted it. And she kind of said, I want an epidural. I'm not doing okay, guys. And they were like, no, you can't get an epidural. I was the nurse in this scenario. And finally, at one point, I asked everyone to step out and had a heart-to-heart with this woman. Was like, look, what do you want? And she grabbed my scrubs and she goes, Sarah, my soul hurts right now. And I was like, my soul hurts right now just hearing that. Your soul should never hurt in labor, okay? And so if you feel like your soul is hurting, or that you're gonna look back on that day as being the worst day of your life, or it was so traumatic, or I never wanna have a baby again, or how in the world am I ever gonna be able to do this? I hate it. I resent my baby. I resent my partner. That's not at all what we want from your birth experience. So suffering is that emotional, deep feeling. Make sense? Pain versus suffering. And so when you approach the epidural decision, first of all, I want you to think about what kind of birth experience do you want, and then talk with your partner or your care team about what suffering may look like. And then while you're in labor, women, think about, is this just pain or is this suffering? And when it becomes suffering, that's when an epidural can become a tool to helping you have that happy birthday, happy birth memory. Thanks everyone for being with me here today. I hope that helps you as you approach your labor and birth and as you work towards making that decision. I would also say that you don't have to make that decision right now. You can play it by ear, flex and flow in the moment and see. And if you're coping, then you're coping. Also, I think coping is a choice. In the moment, remind yourself that this is normal, this is good, this is gonna bring my baby into my arms, and it's literally one contraction at a time. And then if you decide that's not what you want, then go ahead and get yourself an epidural and take a little nap and wake up to pushing your baby out, hopefully. If you have any other suggestions for videos, don't forget to throw them in the comment box below. And if you're looking for birth coaching services from anywhere in the world, I am launching some new packages that will be able to help and serve and walk anybody anywhere through their pregnancy, labor, and birth so that they can feel super confident. So if you know anybody that's pregnant, feel free to share this video with them or send them over to bundlebirth.com, and I would love to get to know you better and help make your birth day one of the happiest days of your life. But until next time, I will see you soon. Don't forget to flex and flow, and talk to you later. Bye guys. One of the number one concerns that women's have I appreciate all of your comments. I try to respond. No, too much. Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Lavonne and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Oh my. Poodle. I don't like that one. The hardest things you ever do in your life? What was that? That's not at all where I'm going with this one. I can't do. I'm getting a phone call from my soul friend Haley, who maybe you've been used to her seeing her as. Does that make sense? Talk with your partner about it, and good luck. No. Thanks everyone for being with me here today. I'm Sarah Lavonne. You know who I am.